Hello and welcome to the interviews here at the Musica Sacra Project. If you appreciate these interviews, would you please consider to share, like and subscribe and comment with your thoughts below. And this enables me to know that you wish for more of these interviews to continue. Secondly, the Musica Sacra Project is entirely run by donations. It is with your individual support that the project can continue, expand and grow this year and into next year. You can find how to donate via the donation page on the website, or please email directly and I can provide free international transfer options. Now, please sit back and enjoy this interview. Hello everyone and welcome to another interview here at the Musica Sacra Project. Today I have with me a friend and it's a pleasure to have him on today. I would like to introduce Mathias Théry. He is a choir conductor and the founder of Lux Amoris in Paris. And we had the pleasure of meeting in Solesmes this year and have had some very good and memorable times since. So thank you for being on today, Mathias.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's great. And we've been talking about lots of topics, I guess, about sacred music across Europe recently. It's been a real pleasure. But I would like to start with talking to you about your journey to doing choir conducting and a bit of background about yourself for people to know.
Yeah, with pleasure. So I began playing music at the conservatory in a small town in the north of France, where I lived with my parents and my siblings. So I began when I was 5 at the conservatory in playing the flute, and very soon I began to sing in the children choir in the conservatory. So it was not a very big thing. It was 2 hours every Wednesday afternoon, but the choir conductor was very good and very inspiring. And also in the meantime, I was singing in the church in our parish, where we did some sacred music, and there was also some Gregorian chant. It was only for the men, so I was not singing with them at the time. But I was in contact with sacred music in that parish. And then when I came in Paris before the end of high school, and I was playing the flute still at the time, but then in Paris, in the conservatory in Paris, I saw this sign, introduction to choir conducting, and I thought, yeah, why not? That's a good idea. And also arriving in Paris, I began to work with choir. That it was a student mass in a church every Wednesday evening or Thursday, I don't remember. Student mass, and it was a TLM, traditional Latin mass. And I went to meet people because I didn't know anyone in Paris. And then the pastor said that they were looking for singers, so I went. And then a couple of weeks later, the choir conductor of the time said that she was beginning with a new job and she didn't have the time anymore. And I said, okay, if you want, I'm taking some introduction classes of choir conducting, and I know how to read music and I can maybe do the job if you want. So I began. This was my first choir and my first experience. So my first experience of choir conducting was in the church and with the church choir. And for 3 years I conducted them, and at the beginning it was very messy, and people, like, it was just like 1 hour before the mass, let's see who we have and what music we do. So it was not very nicely done, but it was something. But then we built something, and we had extra rehearsals outside of the Wednesday evening, and we got to have more good voices and more skilled people. And at the end of the 3 years, we did a very nice concert, spiritual concert, with an adoration at the end of it, and we had a good level. So I was very happy about that. Now I've been continuing in Paris to do choir conducting. I dropped the flute, and then and then I did my bachelor there of choir conducting, and now I moved for 1 year in Amsterdam to do a pre-master there at the conservatorium, and now I'm going to München, Germany, to do my masters.
Yes, I feel like the church across Europe is getting to enjoy your talents very much as you keep moving around. So
I hope so.
that's great. And for people who don't know, Matthias, when he's conducting, you have such a beautiful skill and such a way about you working with the choirs. So it was really so wonderful to meet you and to experience being in the choir, watching you conduct. So I feel like you have such a special gift that God's given you, and I'm very glad you dropped the flute. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
As I said to you, I think a couple of weeks ago, it was never meant to be. So that was good.
No, exactly. I agree.
Um, so you've spent most of your time now, though, in Paris doing sacred music. And what could you say about, I guess, sacred music in the church in Paris, maybe, and then across France? Do you think it's similar to the rest of the world, or is something special happening there?
Well, I think something that is special in France is that the church has literally no money, and so it is a bad thing in a way because there is no money to pay for good musicians and trained and skilled musicians. But the good thing is that it relies on people who want to help and who want to do things well. So I think I saw in the last maybe 15 years, I would say, yeah, beginning of the 2010 years, we see a lot. It's like in fashion to sing in a choir when you're a young Catholic in a big city. It's a good way to meet people, maybe to meet your soulmate also, and to sing and to help for the beauty of the liturgy. And I think this is something that people more and more are doing in France, in Paris, but also in every big city, every city where you have young people studying, or you know. So at the beginning, it was only fun music, I would say, like liturgical music, but that is a little bit upbeat with maybe a cajon or maybe a guitar, or and then the choir learns more than the soprano part, and then it's nicer. But more and more with the time, some people took founded choirs and tried to dive a bit more into more difficult music and more sacred music as we hear it, like repertoire, like classical repertoire. So Renaissance music, even if it's simple, but it can go as far as Forêt, Cantique de Jean Racine, or or any kind of motets that are doable by amateur choir, but yeah, those people try to do it better and more. So this is very beautiful thing that is happening. And now also those people, some of them begin to take the risk to go into a musical career, and then they go to conservatory because they want to do things well. They start only with a good intention, and then they try to do it, but then they're like, oh yeah, but let's do it right, and let's learn with the people who know how to do it right. So they go, and it's good also because they go outside of the Catholic world. They go to the conservatory where they meet musicians who are not Catholics, and now I think in a lot of classes of choir conducting or singing classes, we have more and more Catholic people in Paris and in other cities, which is also very good.
Yeah, it's so true because we're in one way we learn from the secular world and then we also bring something to the secular world, I feel.
I think so.
In my studies, no one would teach you Gregorian chant in your general, university courses. You only have to go and specialize somewhere in that. But now I feel like it's the other way, where I'm bringing it to the outside world and showing this aspect of history that I feel like we just bypass, we just miss that point, and we go straight to the Renaissance. So I think it's really beautiful how it happens both ways. And like yourself, getting the training in the secular world is so important because of the quality that we can find.
No.
And sometimes talking to many people, you actually feel like the Holy Spirit is working sometimes in the secular concerts. They're so beautiful, but they just don't have the faith that we have when we bring sort of excellence of music and faith together. I think that's when it's something like another world. So
Yeah.
that's a really good point. Yeah, it's really exciting to see, and I think this is very much the case across Europe. This idea of young people joining choirs, trying to do it really well, and it's a sense of friendship and family, and like it's not just doing music. Where in some of the more affluent countries, it's just musicians coming together, they sing, and then they go and leave, and they come back next Sunday and they do the same thing. Where in France and Portugal, it's like building community as well, which we need a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I was saying I think it's a good thing also that there is no money for the church in France. Because if I see in Germany, for example, it's exactly what you describe. It's people, the church has money and has always been paying musicians, which is a great thing, really. But yeah, you don't have that same spirit, that same generosity, and that same. But I think also in maybe one generation from now, we could have both. We could have trained and professional musicians singing generously and also being paid to sing in the church, which would be normal because of the amount of hours they spent learning the skills, and also in that spirit of community and giving and praying whilst singing. So
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have both.
Yeah, that is the dream, right? The dream
Yeah,
is
exactly. That is the dream.
and and happily give extra hours where the church might need and they can't pay you. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
we
Yeah.
we never get paid enough, even in the paid roles, I think, to cover what time we put in as music directors. But that's the beauty of our role. It's a vocation and a job, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
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 And talking about that, you are the founder of Lux Amoris choir in Paris, and an association, you say. So could you please explain a little bit about this choir, because it is of a beautiful quality, and it's so nice to see so many young people singing. So can you tell the world?
Yeah. Yeah. So as I said, I'm conducted for 3 years the choir of the student mass in Paris, in this parish in Paris. And but then we did something great by just being a little bit more demanding on the people, but we still accepted everyone. There was an audition or whatever. So it was only to take the people where they are and to bring them to the highest possible for them. So um, so for that we needed to be demanding on the presence of at the rehearsal, on the people working a little bit between the rehearsals, and also giving them a little bit of help with the singing and with the sight reading and everything. So this was a very important experience for me, because this is with those people that I began to think about because now we were doing it for one mass in one place every week, but now I wanted at this moment to give it a little bit wider perspective, and to be able to train people that could go in their parishes and improve the level there. So be better singers, or maybe become choir conductors, and so I wanted to found a place where those ideas could be put into actions, and with the same spirit of giving the best that we can with the good training and in the good spirit. So we founded Lux Amoris at that time. It was 2018, and we did that. We have been welcomed in the Saint-Roch parish, so it's in the very center of Paris, which is very nice because it's a parish. It's the parish of the artists in Paris, like officially, and it's a very beautiful church, and and the pastor has been very generous with us with his time and the places to rehearse and everything. And also, it's a parish where you have Novus Ordo and traditional Latin Mass. So which is also very good for us to have both and to be able to practice the mutual enrichment that we do also with the sacred music. So at the beginning, so we founded this choir with approximately 30 singers, and so we took everyone. It was just no audition, and everyone, but they had to agree to be present at every event, every rehearsal, and they would have to agree that it will be a serious work, and that even if they come without having any singing in a choir experience, they commit, and then we can bring them somewhere if they commit to the goal and to the spirit and to the demanding schedule. So we did that, and at the very beginning we thought that it would be good to have already lessons for those who wanted. So solfège. So it was mostly ear training and sight reading, solfège, singing, individual lessons, and choir conducting for those who are more advanced and wanted to learn how to conduct. So those were the 3 lessons that were offered just before the rehearsal, 1 hour before the rehearsal, and it was not mandatory, but it was offered to them with very good teachers from the conservatory. So not per se Catholic, but very good teachers. And so we did that for 3 years like that until 2021. Yeah, so for 3 years, and then afterwards we extended it, and we made it a school of liturgical music, school of sacred music, and then it was open to also the lessons were also open to the people outside of the choir, but at the beginning it was only for the singers of the choir.
Yeah, it's such a big undertaking. I know it probably was step by step, but it's really, when you talk about the entire thing over the 3 years, it's a lot of work. It's very and it's run by young people who are studying and doing other things with their life, I'm sure, as well. And that's amazing. Such a wonderful initiative, and to give so much time, you and other people, I'm sure, like giving so much time to this. So, and that it still continues.
Yeah, it still continues. The school right now is a little bit on a pause, but because I was not there anymore, and it was difficult to find someone to take it on his shoulders, on her or his anyway, and and yeah, but the choir is still working, and I really want to say that it was really a teamwork, and a lot of people, a lot of my friends that I'm still very good friends with now, and a lot of my friends gave a lot of time, like for about the money, the emailing, the communication, and all those things that we artists are not always very good at. But yeah, I've been very lucky to meet people who were willing to give their time into a project that was only in my head at the beginning.
Yeah, and now look at it. It's amazing. Well done, I have to say. Talking about giving more of your time, you have volunteered to join the Musica Sacra Project as a contributor, as a teammate, which is really such an answer to prayer. I didn't ask, you just offered this when we were talking once, and I was like, you serious? You really want to? And so it's an absolute pleasure, I guess, in this interview to tell people that, yes, Matthias is coming on board and offering his time with me to build up the project, see where God can take it. And could I ask, general idea, why did you say I want to help Grace?
Because you are a very nice person, first of all.
No.
But no, I mean, there is you and there is the project, and of course, it's your project. So, but what I saw in your project was in this Musica Sacra project is a lot of the same spirit as I had when I was founding Lux Amoris. It's really uh, make um, um, make something happen to improve the level in the parishes and to inspire people to sing better, to give better, to give more time and more work into making music beautiful for the souls and for the divine worship, because this is what we want. We want people to experience beauty, and especially people who don't go to concerts, and we want them to go into the church and to experience beauty and to be inspired by it, to pray better, to pray more, to be more holy, and also for us, because we know that the more we give, and the more we use our talents to and we give them, we orient it to the
Correct.
Christ, yeah, and to His Father. Then the more holy we can be, the more close to God we can be. So yeah, I really I am very happy to join the team, and I hope we can
Little
we can
thing.
go we can do beautiful things.
Yeah. No, it's such a, as I said, it's a godsend because of your faith, essentially, and everything you literally just said. Because it's really hard to find sometimes people who are passionate in music and equally passionate in faith as me to do both. And I'm not saying there's not people out there, but it's just such a joy to find someone within Europe that is willing to give time and to do this with me, and to see how much more we can do now that we are, both having different experiences and doing different music and choirs. It would be such a pleasure to see what God has in store. So we also met in Solesmes, which was an absolute pleasure to, I guess, become friends and also to be in choirs conducting. You were conducting, and also you taught me a little bit of conducting, which was an absolute pleasure. And I just wanted to ask you, what was your experience of Solesmes from your perspective, and what were those highlight moments for you?
Yeah, for me, Solem, it was the second time this session in Solem. We did it last year and we did it in this July, and it's very nice. It's organized by Manuel Alberto Diaz Blanco, and he's a lovely guy. He's very passionate about Gregorian chant, and he's very generous also, and he has a lot of ideas, and he goes through his ideas, which is very, because everybody has ideas, but not everybody just make it into action. So yeah, very nice. And he asked me to to teach a little bit of semiology to the beginners, and to conduct some of the pieces, some of the masses. We had mass every day, and where we sang all of the prosper and proper and Kyrielle. and also I was in charge of teaching a little bit of conducting, Gregorian chant conducting. So it was very nice because there are Solem is a very special place for Gregorian chant, and it was nice because we had sometimes we went with the monks to actually hear how they sing, and also sometimes we were in another church singing ourselves, especially for the lauds and for the vespers and and compline. Anyway, I don't remember, but sometimes it was at the with the monks, and sometimes it was among us. So it's yeah, it is very nice, and it has been made. It has been organized in such a nice spirit of generosity and of friendship. So we were quite a lot of people, but everybody was happy to be there. No, no, very much tension, no drama, no. And has a lot to do with the character of Alberto, who brings it into what he does. So this was very nice, and I really enjoyed teaching the choir, the Gregorian chant conducting, and especially I don't follow precisely one method, because I know there are some methods, but I use a little bit sometimes of this method, this method. But for me, the most important is to be able to show what you want to show according to the level of the people you have in front of you. So it was very nice also when you teach conducting to people you don't know, then, and people from different backgrounds, and especially when it was the English speaking group, you have, this is English speaking, but not all of them are native English speakers. So you have people from a lot of different countries and a lot of different cultures and schools of conducting. And some of them just never had any lessons, so they just do how they feel. And it's very nice to see all the different ways you can have, and to go from what someone is doing, and you see that gesture and you think this is not a good gesture, but it actually works. And so then you can, yeah, it's also very interesting for, it was also very interesting for me. And of course you have things to correct and things that are not um, uh, uh, okay with the music, or well, you need to improve, of course. But yeah, very very nice experience.
It was, I'm sure, a great experience for you to be, they say the best way to learn is to teach. So I feel like you probably, as the teacher, were learning as you go, as to that's a good gesture, that's a bad gesture. Well, that was such a strange gesture, but it worked or something. So I understand that aspect maybe for you also. And it was wonderful to meet so many people. These types of events, you meet so many people from different countries. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And my final question is that we have Gregorian chant and polyphony when we use it in the traditional sacred music, you know, the traditional Latin Mass, or yeah, even in the Novus Ordo, we can use it in both. And my question to you is, when do you think we should use Gregorian chant, and when should we use polyphony? Like, for you, there's no right or wrong, but I would just love to have other people's perspectives as to what type of event or mass or feeling do we choose one or the other.
Well, well, the church is saying that the most perfect chant is the Gregorian chant, so it's the one that should have the priority all the time. So actually, the ideal mass would be the mass that the monks, the Benedictines, do. It's only Gregorian chant, and this would be the perfect, or the ideal way of singing the mass. It will be only the Gregorian chant, and also because it says exactly what it needs to say in terms of text and in terms of music and of sensitivity, and it never goes too far into the personal or the human expression, and it is never taking you by surprise. It's exactly doing what God is doing with us. It's only teaching and repeating, and only and doing that with the words of God and with the music that is inspired by Him. But polyphony is also inspired by God and also very beautiful and very suitable for the liturgy very much. And sometimes we need polyphony because we need something that is a little bit more obviously generous in a way, more comfortable, more easy to apprehend for someone that is not Catholic. Or so I would use the polyphony to help to yeah to make a mass that is a bit more warm and a little bit more welcoming to everyone. And I think polyphony is a easier way to do that. And yeah, yeah,
It's just
and
maybe slightly more emotive, not chaotic
yeah,
emotive, but a little bit more inspiring the emotions for people that don't attend
yeah,
often. And
exactly.
it's a very good point. And Gregorian chant is beautiful and functional, if we could say functional. But I think for the modern world, it's something that we need to maybe grow accustomed to if it's just very new for some people. So I think
Yeah,
that's a wonderful way to decide, if that makes sense.
it it is interesting also because some people sometimes it's good also to make a very big difference between the outside world and the inside of the church and the liturgy. So Gregorian chant is a very good way, is a very good tool to do that by doing a Gregorian chant mass. And if you have someone that has never been to a mass before and comes and sees a Gregorian chanted mass, would be an experience that is very strong for this person, and it could be a very good thing to give to this person something that is 100% what we would do ideally, and not always, because we always want to take people step by step, and we always want to take people where they are, and to bring them step by step to something a little bit more demanding in terms of hearing and emotion and everything. So it can be also a good tool. But I think for the people, I would say, and Lux Amoris is very much about that. It's a liturgical choir. So the purpose is to help praying the people that already are baptized and already are coming here to pray. So the people who are struggling with faith and this world that is against the faith, and people who need to go to the holy fountain, every Sunday, and they need to be able to relax and to be able to pray and to find the strength to go for another week in the world, staying holy and staying in that in the presence of God. So this is why I think we need to be careful, because the liturgy is not missionary in itself. So the liturgy is made for the worship of the people who are baptized, and we should not think about the liturgy and make our musical programs according to the idea that maybe someone in the church is not Catholic and we should convince them. So if the people who come to the Mass every Sunday have something that is beautiful and that is inspiring, and if they pray deeply, then they can be missionary outside of the church and bring someone next week. But this is not the main purpose of the liturgy. So this is why I wanted to add about that. Yeah.
It's a really good point you made that people don't, I think, mention enough, is the liturgy is for us, the Catholics. And I think sometimes it's considered more of an evangelizing tool, which it can be, but really the person that attends their soul needs to meet where we are at. We do not need to compensate for where they are not at, unless we are doing very specific masses for people who don't go. But even so, they can get to experience our beauty as we behold it, not how we want them to see it. Often at weddings, that I find that's the most special experience to do weddings, because so many people don't attend church except when there's a wedding. And we as the musicians have the opportunity to show them the beauty of the church in all of its aspects. So I don't have to say, oh, well, these people don't. If the bride and groom are Catholic and they want it Catholic, we can then show the rest of the world in this 1 hour what we do in the whole sense of it, all of the beauty, and just throw God's beauty at them. That's my concept. And often their souls raised to that level, they don't find it overwhelming. They often find it so enlightening to hear what we do without compensating for them. Like, this is our church, and this is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
proclaim. Yeah.
Why I have the same perspective on the funerals, and I really like to sing funerals, and I did that a lot in Paris, and it's also because people are so vulnerable at this moment, are so open, and then it's actually a very big responsibility, because if you give them music that is not beautiful, or that is not that doesn't give any comfort for them, any confrontation, and then you miss the point. So a lot of people try to make something very accessible for them, because they say those people are not used to go to mass, so we should make something very simple and very very easy listening for them. But it's actually not what they need and not what they want. They want to have something to experience the sacred, and to experience this other world that we try to show. So because this is also the world where the person that they are burying is living in, hopefully. So it is a big responsibility that a lot of people betray. I yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And funerals are often quite simple and quickly organized. And, so they would just do, they just want one singer and maybe the organist or something. And I always felt the same. It's such a responsibility to present a taste of heaven to them, because that's what they're seeking in that time. And that's our time that we can show them the grace and the love of God. So that's really good. Weddings and funerals, very important. Yeah.
Nice. Perfect.
On that note, it's absolutely wonderful to have the time to talk to you today, Matthias, and so exciting to see what God leads us together and individually to do with the project. And I hope we can have another discussion in the near future. We can pick a topic and talk about it. But thank you so much, Matthias.
Really, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and looking forward